Is that, well, that's inspired.
What's our first song? Going Up Yonder?
What?
Going Up Yonder. And they're behind you. How are you going to do this or this?
Okay.
Can you do that?
Oh, yeah, use
Well,
both
this
your
is
hands,
no,
but
and
we're
this
just
is
doing
yes.
two.
Okay.
Yes, no. Yes, no. Hallelujah.
Say, Dr. Nate, are you up there? Yes. Doctor. That's right. The doctor of sound. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And welcome to Church in Ocean Park. We have so many amazing things going on today. And for our opening song, you want to say something about our wonderful song leader?
Oh, yeah. Well, let me introduce her. Hi, everybody. This is Flo Benjamin here.
Mm-hmm.
And Flo was born in, let me give it to the mic. I know. Thank you. Flo Benjamin was born in Mobile, Alabama, and was immersed in gospel music throughout her life. She grew up listening to the Staple Singers and Mahalia Jackson. Flo began singing in Sunday school and continued her musical journey after moving to California in 5th grade. While attending John Adams Middle School, she sang in the choir, and later at Santa Monica High School, SAMOHI, she became part of the school's choir. Flo's musical talents flourished as she went on to sing in a quartet for Stairways to the Stars and regularly performed at her church. Her passion for music comes from her love for the Lord, and she sings to express the joy He brings into her life. Flo carries this joy in her heart wherever she goes.
All right. Welcome.
Welcome, Flo! I am so thrilled.
Yes, come on.
If you want to know where I'm going, where I'm going, soon. Anybody ask you where I'm going, where I'm going, soon, yeah, I'm going up yonder, I'm going up yonder, I'm going up yonder to be with my Lord. I can take the pain, the joy that it brings, the comfort in knowing I'll be gone soon. As God gives me grace, I'll run this race until I meet my Savior face to face. Yeah, I'm going up yonder. I'm going up yonder. I'm going up yonder to be with my Lord. Sing it with me, yeah. I'm going up yonder, going up yonder, going up yonder, going up yonder. I'm going up yonder to be with my Lord.
All right. Welcome to Church in Ocean Park. Yes, indeed. All right. Thanks so much. We're doing another one? Nope.
Hallelujah.
Flo, I'm so glad I got out of bed and came up here so I could hear you sing that song. That is so amazing. So, good morning, church. How y'all doing? Look at y'all. I'm Trudy Goodwin Barnes Gord, and what an honor it is this morning to welcome y'all. I take this role as an occasional greeter seriously. It's important you know that by showing up today, you landed in a truly welcoming community. Off top, you should know that we are multi-faith, so this is a space where people learn from various doctrines, including Muslim, Jewish, Indigenous, Hindu, Ifa, Buddhist, Christian, atheist, and all other forms of beliefs, philosophies, and traditions. Mostly, we are guided by the principles of love and acceptance. So let me attempt to answer the question of whether you're welcome here. You're welcome here if you are very rich or barely getting by. You are welcome if you just rolled out of bed or on your way to the job or just got out of jail. We welcome latte sippers and folks boycotting Starbucks, vegetarians and donut lovers. We welcome people who practice yoga and daily meditation or get down with where them fans at. If you are happily unattached or blissfully married or a well-loved widow, you are welcome here. We welcome you if you are straight, gay, non-binary, transgender, or on your road to find out. We don't care if your papers are in order or if you are registered for the November 4th election like our governor told you to. You are welcome if you love Bob Marley, or if you're a member of the Swiftie community, or you can't wait to see Bad Bunny perform at the Super Bowl. We hope that you will find this a place of healing and a place where you can make friends and meet some good people. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park.
Thank you, Trudy. I'm Janet Gollery McKithen. I'm the minister here, and I also welcome you to this amazing place. This is a unique religious community because it's focused on helping to create a more equitable and more sustainable world for all. And it is multi-religious, so you may hear something that you disagree with, and know that no matter who it was that just spoke, whether it's me or Trudy or anybody else, your voice is just as important. Even if this is your first time in the room. By the way, if this is your first time in the room, you're already a member. Okay? Sorry about that. So we want to begin by acknowledging that most of us right now, we're sitting on stolen land. In Santa Monica, the land was taken violently from the Chumash, the Quiche, and the Tongva peoples. We acknowledge the harms of genocide, forced assimilation, enslavement, and destruction at the hands of U.S. settler colonialism. We also acknowledge that our communities and country was built on the backs of people who were stolen from Africa, placed into bondage, and forced into labor. We acknowledge that we benefit from that labor every single day, by doing things that we think are normal, but are actually systemically hurting other people and ourselves. We also acknowledge that we have allowed an authoritarian government to take root in our country, and people are being kidnapped off of our streets and disappeared, and fear is rampant. We acknowledge that we are responsible for destroying cultures and lives in other countries as well, and that our tax dollars are funding the genocide in Gaza. In our acknowledgement, let us commit ourselves to healing by helping to create a more just and equitable world, no matter how difficult, no matter the cost, because people's lives are at stake. All of us have biases, even those of us who have taken anti-bias training here and there. It doesn't matter, you still have a bias, everybody does. So we try to work intentionally to create more compassion across barriers and boundaries that just naturally are there to promote new relationships of healing and of love. We center ourselves each week by a Thich Nhat Hanh chant, because we've all been running around, making the altar, singing a song, trying to get here on time, whatever it is. So let's take a deep breath and we'll say together, I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now, 3 times. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park. We're glad that you're here.
Well, I have to tell you all, and oh yes, I'm Dr. Kim Harris, teaching at LMU, and many of my students, because they had an assignment, have been watching the past YouTube videos of Church in Ocean Park. And a few of them, and some of them have also, tuned in, and they always talk about the welcome. They never fail to talk about the welcome and how it means so much for them to hear that. So thank you. Now, today, we've got lots of things going on, in addition to having our wonderful Flo Benjamin be back with us. Also, today we are celebrating several different holidays and feasts that all are happening all right in the same time. Now, let's see if I can say this correctly. Allerheiligen, or All Saints' Day, November 1st. That originated in the 700s when Pope Gregory III fixed November 1st as a day to remember all saints, both known and unknown, in the Catholic Church. But today, a lot of people also observe this day to remember those who are with God after death and perhaps are reminding us, challenging us to be our best. Now, November 2nd, it's All Souls Day, and that's also being celebrated in many churches around the world, but also on the 2nd, the 1st and the 2nd, I think, the Day of the Dead. It's a 2-day holiday celebrates the reunion between the living and the dead. Now, this joyful celebration goes back centuries to Aztec roots. And it stretches back, and it's the result of the indigenous Mesoamerican culture adapting its existing rituals in the face of colonization. Now, while it's primarily a Mexican holiday, but here in the United States and some other places too, it's really celebrated, very, very much so. And it's rooted in the belief that the veil between the mortal and the immortal worlds are very thin at this time. And that allows the deceased spirits to cross over into the living world to be with loved ones. And one way that you can help them to find their way back, guide the spirits home to the ofrenda or to your home, is to have a trail of marigolds. We remember many people today. I'll give you fair warning, Dr. Nate up there. Now, there are some places that are also remembering at this time people across the Southwest, men and women who have died in ICE custody. We're remembering so many people, so many who have made it possible for us to be here. And Disney, of all folks, did a wonderful, lovely movie, actually, that gets a lot right about Day of the Dead. And so we're going to play a song from the movie Coco, Remember Me.
Wonderful. I love that musical.
I just want to say, some of you may know this, but the guy who's playing the guitar, he is a friend of the church. He's played here a number of times, Freddie Ramos, and he also played that when it won the Oscar at the Academy Awards. So, yeah, it's great. I love that song, but he's a great guy too, yeah.
Yes. Oh, he's the guitar player in your band. And Lee Beck is the one who brought him to us here at the church in Ocean Park. So now we're going to hear from Guadalupe Garcia. And I just want to let you know that in the 1990s, that's how old I am. I was working as a refugee and immigration coordinator for the CalPAC annual conference of the Methodist Church. And I ran across this little group that was trying to get together, and they were working for the rights of domestic workers because they've been left out of all the different groups that were working for workers' rights and things that were domestic workers were being left out. And so when I knew IDEPSCA, that's what I knew. But now they've expanded, and I'm really happy that Guadalupe is here to share with us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. My name is Guadalupe Garcia. I'm an immigrant, indigenous Zapoteca women. IDEPSCA stands by the Institute of Popular Education of Southern California. We have been in the community for more than 20 years, organizing with and for domestic workers and day laborers. So we have been focusing mainly on workers' rights. As Pastor Janet mentioned, right, unfortunately, domestic workers have been left, as well as day laborers, on so many labor protections. And right now, it's very connected with the current political climate, right? It's not just the fact that they have been criminalized, especially day laborers, for waiting for jobs at the Home Depots, but also just because the fact that the color of their skin. So right now I'm here sharing briefly what we are doing. I'm part of the Mujeres en Acción Domestic Workers Program. We have 3 different programs. The day labor program is the biggest one. We have 5 day labor centers in the city of Los Angeles. 3 of them are co-located at the Home Depot parking lot. And it's not because Home Depot wants us to be there, right? It is because there is a motion. The city required them to have a Home Depot in their parking lot in order to build a Home Depot. So there is a lot of story behind this because in the past, they have had so much criminalization against day laborers. In fact, in 2018, we had a campaign led by workers because Home Depot used security guards to criminalize day laborers. They want them out of the parking lot. They want them out of the even walk side. They even use the security guards to not just physically harass them, but also treating them to call ICE on them. So what is happening now is not new. Have you heard about Home Depot saying something because ICE is in their parking lot? No, right? So we want to hold them accountable. They haven't said anything at all. Our centers, unfortunately, have been targeted. As of today, we have a list of more than 120 day laborers who have been kidnapped. And they have even tried to get into our center. So this is not new, and this is why we are part of the boycott Home Depot. Because day laborers also are customers. Day laborers are bringing customers to the Home Depot. And Home Depot is not saying anything. They are allowing ICE in their parking lot and not day laborers. How does that sound? Right? So there is a lot of going on, and Home Depot is not saying anything. So that's the reason that we have this campaign, and we have our list of petitions. One is that we want ICE out of the Home Depots, but we want Home Depots to say something publicly. We want also that Home Depot pays the family of workers who have been kidnapped. This is something that is impacting in so many ways, not just the fear to be outside. Workers tell us every day, I know that I shouldn't be here, but I need a job, because otherwise I cannot pay rent. I cannot even have food on my table. So we are working with a lot of volunteers, connecting workers' rights with how you can also support workers right now with the current political climate. So there are so many ways in which people can volunteer and support workers, either patrolling, but if people cannot come and patrol, they can also help us to, sometimes we need volunteers to go to B18. Have you heard about what is B18? B18 is the basement, right? Where ICE is taking workers once they are kidnapped. They hold them in a basement for so many hours before send them to a detention center. It's so cold in there. So that's why they call this a freezer place, right? They even take them out the sweater. So we need sometimes people to help us bring in a sweater for workers, bring in their meds, and also helping us to connect them with trust employers. We have heard that even ICE have been telling workers, oh, I need a worker, I want to hire someone. And guess what happened after? They kidnapped them. Right now, I'm in touch with a jornalero who is in Arizona Detention Center because somebody told him that they want him to do some job for him. Once they asked them, did you have papers? And he said no. They not just detain him, kidnap him, but also beat him. And right now he is facing health conditions because of this. So I don't want to take more of the time, but if you would like to hear more information about the Boycott Home Depot campaign, about our programs, about the work that we are doing. Right now, we have a base of more than 1,000 day laborers and more than 400 domestic workers. We are helping them to create family emergency plans. We are on the phone with them every single time when they are kidnapped and helping them to connect with mutual aid, but also helping them to walk through all this process. Unfortunately, there are not enough pro bono lawyers. So as you can imagine, it's so hard for them to pay for a private attorney. So there is too much going on, and I appreciate the space, and I'm grateful to hear that you are part of different groups, like doing something, right? This is great. So feel free to stop by the table. I have a sign-in list, or you can email me. My email is guadalupe@idepsca.org, but I can also leave my information here. So happy to be here. If you have any question, please feel free to stop by. And thank you. Just to close my speech, just want to honor today the day laborers and domestic workers who have lost not just their life, but also their freedom. Because what's happening right now. Also, the loss of access to health and safety protections and labor rights. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guadalupe. And the table is right back there. I'm sure many of you will stop by before you leave today, doing incredibly important work. And we have one more song this morning from Flo Benjamin.
People get ready, there's a train a-comin'. Don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. People get ready, there's a train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the door and board them. There's hope for all among those that are loved. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinners who would hurt their all mankind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. There's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. So people get ready, there's a train a-comin'. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Yeah.
Woo! Flo Benjamin, you guys. Woo! All right. Get on board, y'all. So, Day of the Dead and All Saints' Day, has so many emotions, and so many people come with different emotions. One of the things about Day of the Dead that Dr. Kim pointed out was sort of laughing in the face of death, making humor out of saying you're not it. death is not the last word. You're not going to, no. Move on, but whatever. So, there's talking to death as if it's, it's not going to be consuming, but it does sometimes. We just can't help it. We are going to honor whoever we would like to honor this morning. And some of you brought pictures and could hold them up and say something about them if you wish. You could see that on this altar, there are already some folks who placed pictures and some who may have them with them that didn't post them yet. But so this is just a time for you to come up and share about your loved ones. We'll end it with a blessing, and we may sing the song, These We Will Remember, after the Chaplain Joseph has a prayer, and then we could do These Do I Remember, okay? So this is just a time for basically you sharing whoever you'd like to honor this morning. Okay.
No, I'm not sure. I don't have their pictures, but two amazing, actually 3 amazing folk musicians that just died. Archie Fisher, some of you may have heard of him, and he just passed maybe about a day ago. And Bob Franke, who just wrote incredible songs, and someone whose memorial service is actually happening right now, right this very moment, and his name is Peter Amadon. And so I just want to remember musicians and artists that have helped us all so much to make it through our times, and their songs and their spirits will continue to live on.
Yeah, bring people up. Is there anybody else who'd like to share? Come on up. You can either hold this or put it on.
Yeah, I didn't bring pictures either, but I'd like to really honor my grandparents on my dad's side that came during the Black migration to Los Angeles about 1915 from New Orleans. And my grandmother was Creole. She could pass as white. And she always told me, oh, it goes by your father. She was very proud that her father was a French count. And I didn't realize that he was a master of the plastation until after she passed. But she didn't talk about that. And that's typical of Black history. And so he was a construction worker, and he worked on a lot of movie stars' homes here in LA. I mean, he did Disney's house that had a train around it. He did a lot of that. And then my grandmother, around the time that Olvera Street was created in the 30s, they owned property in Echo Park, about 5 houses at one time. But my grandmother could buy them because my grandfather couldn't buy any homes. He couldn't buy a car, but my grandmother could because she passed as white. And so that's part of their success. And they were very successful here, and they did well. And I don't remember. Oh, my grandmother, yeah. So Olvera Street was created, 1 bus down from their house on Temple and Alvarado to get to Olvera Street. And my grandmother decided that she was going to go down there and make some money too. And so she dressed as a Native American, which I was told we have Cherokee blood, but I don't know if it's true. And she set up a card table and she read tarot cards. And people paid for tarot card readings. And then at some point, which we really never ever discussed, and I wish we had, she realized she was truly psychic. And then people started coming to the home because they had a big, beautiful house on the top of the hill. And she had this one room with a sliding door, and there was always pictured Jesus and candles. She was a Christian Scientist. And she would do readings in that room. We called it the busy room. And we were only allowed in there when no one was in there, but she had a beautiful house with just like antique furniture. I mean, carved Chinese things, Persian rugs, chandeliers. I mean, it was decked out. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't realize it, but now looking back, it's like, wow. And then she used to have the meetings with the you know, unfortunately, most of the people that she affiliated with, and I know she wasn't racist. My grandfather was very dark, but most of the people that came were the more light-skinned black people. They came to like her meetings with talk cards. She would do it up. But I was very close to Bam. That was her nickname, Bam, because one of my cousins couldn't say grandma. She said Bam-ma, and then it got shortened to Bam. And everybody knew her as Bam. And she cooked the best gumbo. And she was really a great cook. I missed her. And she had all these cool antique clothes. And she would give me jewelry and clothes. I had a black cape that she gave me that unfortunately I was attacked and it was ripped. But I really honor them because they were very successful and they did well here. And they were great. And my dad was into all kinds. His church was the Philosophical Research Society on Los Feliz Boulevard. You know, he was into esoteric and you name it, drugs, lots of that too. And and he was into like all kinds of really cool things. So I really want to honor my grandparents and my mother, who was an amazing singer. And that's it.
Thank you. Some of us remember your mother, who was here. Yeah, come on up, Trudy.
So those of you who know me know who I'm about to lift up, right? What's the name, Gail? Idalia Grace Perkins Goodwin, my mama. Now, the funny thing is, my dad is the one that's gone down in history and has artifacts displayed at the Smithsonian, but I'm a mama's girl. What can I tell you? You know, I just loved her. And recently, UCLA asked me to write a blog about in custody deaths in the jails and prisons here in California, as well as police violence against Black people. And so I had a chance to lift my mom up during the time that I was writing this blog. So I won't take much time. I'll just read the few little lines I wrote. My mother, Idalia Grace Perkins, a civil rights activist who started in the early 1960s, played a crucial role in establishing the local United Civil Rights Committee. This committee not only fought against racial segregation and discrimination, but also proactively addressed police brutality through a dedicated subcommittee called Stop Police Brutality. Sounds familiar, right? My childhood was steeped in activism, with my mom insisting that I participate in protests aimed at obtaining civil rights for all.
Want to show the picture? Trying to get her picture. And here's her picture.
Yeah, not only was she smart, but she was damn beautiful.
Beautiful, yes. She was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very tall. Anybody else? Come on up. Welcome.
Good to see you. Yes, you too. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kimberly, and I wanted to just share a little bit about my family. I'm a native New Orleans, and my mother, my grandmother, and great-grandmother, etc., and grandfather. My mother, grandmother, they're all native New Orleans people. What I missed the most, she was my best friend. Ultimate best friend, my #1 cheerleader. I'm proud to say I now too have that same bond with my daughter. I'm a mom of a young lady. I can relate a little bit to the lady that spoke about different things in New Orleans, especially gumbo. Those are food traditions in my family that was passed down from my mom, my grandmother, great-grandmother, and my grandfather. And they hold dear to my heart, along with being a seamstress. My mother's mother was an amazing cook and a seamstress, as well as my mother. So I just wanted to share that with you, and this is such a beautiful display, and I think of our loved ones as they've just relocated to another peaceful, loving place, and they're in our heart for eternity. And it's good to be back here. Good to see you, Janet.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. This is my mother, Dr. Noreen Brandt Price, and I'm purposely calling her doctor. She had a PhD in biochemistry at 1952. So she was a pioneer, though she never, ever, I kind of found out later, But, she was quietly a feminist in terms of her own life. And I take great pride in that. I wanted to get a picture of my father, because he's passed, but I couldn't find one quickly. Of course, I waited to the last minute. But one of the stories he used to tell was he and my mother were house parents at a tuberculosis center. This is a long time ago, 1953 or two. It had to be 1952, before my sister was born. And the patients made a sign and put on their door, Dr. and Mr. Price, because he didn't have his doctor. He wasn't a doctor yet. And he took such great pride in that. It wasn't an issue of, he was so proud of that. And he made a point of telling us that story. So she was a professor of biochemistry way back, and a musician as well. And she was not a good cook.
But you are.
I'm okay, but I think I do a little better than she did. But not that we didn't eat well, but that wasn't something she cared a lot about. She had bigger things on her mind. So anyway, that's my mama. I wanted to talk about her only because I spent over 45 years never talking about her, and nobody else in my family talking about her. And now I know, and since I have been talking about her, I've had such healing. And I want to recommend, really remembering and honoring our people, because it's made a huge difference in my life since I've started doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. I brought pictures. Here, if you can. So this is a little, my parents have been gone a long time, and Millie and Gary Hamilton, and Claudia's parents, Don and Roseanne Landis, and Claudia's father passed away this year. And the reason I wanted to bring this is, I don't think of myself as old, but in both my side of the family, or my relatives, and in Claudia's family, this year, all of that generation are gone. So in addition, my Aunt Leona passed away this year. She was the last person of my parents' generation. And not only Claudia's father passed away, but a couple of her uncles, one who made it to 100, which was pretty good. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's interesting, but as I said, I don't think of myself as old, but it's now all of my cousins, Claudia's cousins, were like the old folks that I remember when I was a little kid, and my parents had old people to take care of. And so it's kind of interesting to reflect on that and remember that at this time of the year. So thank you.
Yes, we remember.
Well, I was thinking generationally, right? That I want to remember Hind Rajab, who was a little girl who was taken way too soon, and Jacqueline Makin, who was killed at the U.S. border, a Guatemalan little girl, as well as, we'll get this, here, hold this a sec. I really want to get this right, even if it's not elegant, it should be right, right? Yeah. Elegant is, hold on. Left the room a long time ago when I come up, but anyway, that's okay. I also want to remember 12-year-old Noya Don, who died on October 7th in Hamas custody. Because I want to remember the children victims of Zionism and imperialism, and I would say all three of those little girls were victims of Zionism and imperialism. And then I want to say that at this age, you could get up here and make a long list of the people that you love who have passed. And I'm going to spare that. I just want to talk a little bit. I want to represent my friend Dorothy Powell, who lost her husband, Pat, on October 13th. And Pat and Getacho's pictures are up here. And Dorothy and I were raised as Methodists and married a guy on our side of the racial divide and had some kids and got divorced. And in the 80s, or in my case in 1991, met the love of our life, who was an immigrant, a communist, and on the other side of the racial divide. So that's Getch, and that's Pat. And y'all have heard a lot about Getch. So I just want to talk a little bit about Pat. Pat was my comrade, and he died on October 13th, and we were very close. He was a teacher. He was born outside of Manchester. He was the son of an Irish veteran of World War I who said that when Pat got into university that no sons of his were going to be blood-sucking pen pushers. And Pat was in the university for a while and then organized, came to Canada, went to Canada, and came to Berkeley and organized workers at the Colgate factory in Berkeley, and got cancer and almost died of colon cancer and met Dorothy. And then they had another 40 years. And Pat became a teacher and an organizer. He was an organizer against apartheid. He got arrested more than once for fighting the Ku Klux Klan in California. He was a scholar. He recommended a book that I'm reading now with some friends on the Luddites, who were the first fighters against technology and the use of technology for the exploitation of working people, not just technology, but the use of technology for the exploitation of working people. And I am proud to honor Pat and to welcome Dorothy into the sisterhood of well-loved widows.
I just felt moved this morning to bring this picture of Sandy, because my husband, who died years ago, because it sits right behind my head on the bed, the thing behind the bed. So when I walk toward my bed, I always see it. It's right there. And it's just a picture of him. We used to rent a place in the summer on Rhode Island Sound. And it's a picture of him fooling with a little tiny sailboat we bought because we had the place for the whole summer. And so I just wanted to share it this morning, so I brought it.
Thank you.
So I'd like to remember my parents. You've heard me say a lot of really dark things about my parents. And as I get older, I realize that they kept us fed, they kept us clothed, they made sure that we had an education. I went to college. My sister went to PCC and then college. They were not activists. One was an optician, one was a secretary. She was a terrible cook. Oh my goodness. Everything tasted like cardboard except for one casserole. I look forward to that every week. Green beans and, I don't know, a marinara sauce over beef and then mashed potatoes on the top. So I savored that. My father was a narcissist. He was not really a nice person to his children. But he earned money and he made sure that we had a place to live. And he was a fantastic artist, by the way. He played the piano, he made mosaics, he painted, he built a koi pond. And so there's a lot of different facets to people, even who are not really meant to be good parents. And now that I look around as I get older, I realize there are parents who abandon their children. There are parents who don't feed their children or mistreat them. And I had parents who took care of me, remembering them.
So some of you, many of you knew my, okay, I don't know if I could do it. I thought I could do it. Okay. That's my mom, and that's my daughter. And I wasn't feeling like this a minute ago. Okay, so she brought up 5 kids. She worked as a nurse almost all her life. So she sometimes worked in the nighttime so she could be with us in the daytime. She also wanted to be a stewardess, but she was too tall. She wore glasses, and then she got married. And you can't be any of those 3 in those days to be a stewardess. Anyway, so she became a nurse, and it was just kind of good because when my dad moved around, she could always find a job, you know. So, but she, my dad left his job for a while, partially because of his middle daughter, me. And so she was footing the bill for the 5 kids and the dad for a while he tried to do something else that didn't work. So, at any rate, I just also wanted to tell you that she wasn't supposed to be working. My dad was a minister, Methodist minister, and the Methodist bishops did not want the spouses, the ministers' wives, they were all wives because only ordained was men. The wives were not supposed to work. So it had to be on the sly. And so in order to show everyone that she wasn't working, she would go to she was in the choir. That would show herself every Sunday morning. Look. And then she would try to be in one of the United Methodist women groups. And look, I'm in a group. I also have 5 kids and I'm working, and I don't know how that happened. But at any rate, she was, when my father died about 15 years ago, I thought that I didn't know what was going to happen because they were I had the opposite of many people in the room who had not nurturing parents. I had like the best parents. I had the best parents ever. I didn't know that till I went to college and found out there were other choices, other options, you know. It didn't occur to me that everybody didn't grow up that way until I found out that they didn't. So I had incredible parents. There's no excuse for me doing what I did, but I did it anyways. And my mother and my father just loved me through it. It was rough, but at the end, like after my father passed away, whenever I would go on a trip to go, a work trip, if there was going to be singing and something, good speakers, she's going to go with me. If it would just be planning, I don't want to go. So if she would go, we'd go like a day early and try to look around and stuff. So my mom became my best friend. I mean, she really was. I mean, so that's why it hurts so bad, because it's not like a normal mom. She was not a normal mom. Let's put it that way. And she didn't have normal children either. But she was my best friend, and so I miss her a lot. Many of you know, were at the service, but she died in January, so this is the first year without her, and I'll miss her every day. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, Abby. Oh, also Joe, and then Fred, and then Abby. Fred, and then we'll come back.
The poetry community lost 4 Los Angeles, Santa Monica, Venice poets this year. Steve Goldman died, the author of The Lone Ranger, a great volume of poems. And then he came out with a second book. April Sky published him. And his friend, Mark Rhodes, who lived here in Santa Monica and always paid tribute to Eliot once a year down at Beyond Baroque, and read his own poetry with Steve in different places. He passed away just a couple of months ago. I had spoken to him on the phone, and I realized he was not in very good health. He could hardly speak on the phone. And he was always supportive of poetry in this community. And Julia Stein, an activist who worked against almost everything that we're working against, and also a poet, and we had a memorial service here for her. And the people knew she was dying, and someone showed up that lived in her house the last few months of her life and had incredible stories to tell us and share. And I'd like to hold up Jerry Garcia, who was on the board of Beyond Baroque and the Contemporary Valley Poets, and has several volumes of books out. He moved his family to Palm Springs, and he passed away with an unexpected heart attack and left the poetry community stunned. There was a memorial at Library Girl one evening, and it was very stunning. And I talked to Susan Hayden. She said, I go to the phone to call him, and I realize he's not there anymore.
So we're... Yes.
S. Sharp Pearl was a poet from Los Angeles. She's been here to our church and performed her poetry here. Just a marvelous lady.
And we'll go up there and then we'll come back to some people here. Abby? Oh, you're...
I love this time of year. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I love this time of year. It's about older women, and there's no militarism or nationalism. It's just joy and sorrow and human emotions. And I had those feelings yesterday, and I was thinking about who I would honor, and there's a lot of people, not because I've led a tragic life, but because I've led a long life. And I really was feeling, really good. This is before I knew who was going to win the World Series. So it was because just that state of mind that I'm in. And I thought, well, I've outlived 4 of my family of orientation, half of the cousins of that generation. But I don't know, I could just pick any one of them I don't know how I could honor them all except by saying that I really feel like, and my attitude of gratitude is with me today. I'm really glad to be alive.
Thank you. Thank you, Abby. Thank you. Um, Daria, have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to remember.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
No, you can?
Yes. Now we can. Yes.
Oh, okay. I just want to remember my grandparents. They passed away many years ago, but I just remember them very fondly, especially my grandmother. She was very funny, and she was an amazing cook and an amazing baker. And unfortunately, my mom did not carry on the cooking baking talent, but I really loved my grandparents, so I remember them.
Thank you, Daria. Gail, hi. Hey,
Hi.
yay, we see you.
Hi. I would like to remember my husband, Peter J. Burns, who passed away 20 years ago tomorrow. And this is my little sweetie. This is who I got to live 40 years with.
Wow.
And he was wonderful. And he came from this outrageous family, which obviously became my family, but 9 kids, extended family is huge, but nothing like the little sweetie that I married.
Oh, so cute.
So tomorrow's the day.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. There are a few more people here, I think. You want to come up? Come on up. You want me to? You okay? Okay. That's fine. That's fine. No problem. We understand.
Oh, I'd like to honor all of you and Janet. This is so beautiful. My heart is just breaking open. This beautiful community that you all have and that the people that you're honoring, you all knew, most of you knew them. Many of them came here. That is beautiful. And it means a lot to me because I've lived in this area for a long, long time, but I've only come here a few times. And now I'm feeling more, like needing a home. I had to leave my home. I'm living alone now. First of all, my name is Regina. I didn't introduce myself. Yeah, and so I really appreciate the community right now, friends in the neighborhood, So my aunt, Gloria, she passed just a few weeks ago. She's here. This family picture. Yeah, this is she with a family. And September 29th, she passed. And I just feel such a emptiness from her. But I've been seeing her everywhere. And I've been feeling her love, which is so beautiful. And she had a huge family. She had 5 kids. And those 5 kids had a lot of kids. So I don't have any children. So I have 40 cousins. So those 5 kids had a lot of kids, and then those kids had kids. So, so there's a lot of cousins, and that's so beautiful, and I love that. But they live in San Clemente, and now it's hard for me to get there because recently I became dizzy, so it's hard for me to drive over there. So, and they are, she and my uncle, who also passed a few years ago, they were the ones who brought our family here because we were all born in Chile. So we're all immigrants. We're a family of immigrants. And my mom and I and my sister, we came thanks to, they sent us affidavits. It was 1963, I believe, when I came. I was 14 years old, and my mother was already living here. So it's been a long time, and we owe a lot to them and to this beautiful, fun family that they created. And my mom and dad are here. That one, yeah, that one. Thank you. This was a ski trip in Chile. You know, they have the beautiful Andes mountains there, right, very close by. We were all skiers, and I miss her. I miss her a lot, and him too. And she died in 1989. She was a very creative artist. She was a fashion designer. She came here speaking English. Both my mom and dad in Chile, they had planned to emigrate to the United States to have a better life. But then what happened was very sad story. She fell in love with someone else. She had an affair with someone else, and she broke our home. She left my dad when I was like, well, she didn't really leave him. She brought her lover over. And I remember this. It was horrible. Yeah, I remember feeling, you're breaking my home, you know? Yeah, we had to leave the house because she brought him over. And she was cooking dinner for him. And my dad said, no, we have to go to the club. We have to go to the swimming pool because your mom has he was my Uncle George. He was a friend of hers. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's a funny story, but it was horrible. And so, and then, since then, I never had a good relationship with her. I didn't know why at the time, but now I know after years and decades of therapy and spiritual work everywhere. Yeah, that's why, I hated, I didn't know that, maybe I didn't hate her, but I had this horrible resentment. So we had a very difficult relationship with her. So, but later, now it's done a lot of healing, and I write to her, and we have a nice relationship now, thank God. So now I have her in my altar, and I have all the pictures in my altar next to my bed, and just honor them. And my dad also was a pretty wonderful guy, but he wasn't very present at home. I know he loved me, and he would tell stories about him and me walking in the streets when I was very, very little, and that we would create stories. We would create, like I was really, really young, like 5 years old or something. And he said that we would walk on the street together, holding hands, and that we would tell stories to each other, just creating them. And I was amazed at that. Yeah, so he has some beautiful memories. He taught me to read when I was like 5. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, that was a difficult relationship too, because they lived in Chile and then they moved to Brazil, and he married my aunt after my mother left him, Yeah, a couple of years after that, he ended up marrying my aunt. And so that was a whole other story. I don't want to take up so much time. But living in different countries. I lived in Brazil also. So it was just, the distances, So I've always felt that longing for family, for home. Yeah. So that's why I think it's so beautiful that you all here and you participate here, and you love each other. I can see that. Yeah. Thank you.
Olga?
Hi, I'm Olga, and this is my mom, Ankitsa, and she died this year, just shy of 92. Sure. This is my mom, Ankitsa. She died this year, just shy of 92. This is a picture of us going to Africa. This specifically is in South Africa and sort of captures the spirit of adventure that she's always had. You know, when you mentioned last of a generation, I hadn't even thought of it, but she is the last of that generation in my family. She came from what was then called Yugoslavia as a doctor here. My dad was an engineer, and I remember stories of they would go to dinner parties, and the engineer men would talk to the engineer women, and she was a doctor back then, and she would have to talk about Tupperware with the ladies, and she was just so shocked, because here she was coming to America, which was everyone's, you know, gold standard, coming from backwards Eastern Europe, and she thought, this is what they call not backwards. So she had lots of great stories like that. She would often go to conferences, and she was one of 2 or 3 women doctors at that time. She said how in Yugoslavia she had many professors who were women. So if she was 92 this year, her professors being women means they were studying in universities, while women here were obviously not. But anyway, our family loved to travel. You know, my dad passed away 20 years ago, and so I would travel with her over the last 20, 25 years, and I really miss her. It's now looking through all these photos as we're sort of dealing with her stuff, and you just see, you know, back in the 50s or 40s, she was climbing in Montenegro and ziplining, and you're like, whoa, again, for a woman in that time. She studied in Yugoslavia sports medicine, so she was mostly around male doctors who did, you know, she was the doctor for the Yugoslav women's basketball team until she came here and had to retrain because there was nothing called sports medicine then. Now, it would be a very lucrative career, but then it was nothing. So she got to do a lot of exciting things, and it just really hitting me more and more as I look at the photos and see, I knew it because she always told me, but to see the photos and to see her way back when in black and white, like just doing crazy, you know, stuff that even now is not that common, but definitely not then. So I want to honor her. And not there, but have a photo of my generation. I just had a first, which is different than the last of a generation. My friend Noah Bartak died just 2.5 weeks ago at 50. So he's the first of a generation. And yeah, he was just someone who was a lover of life in every sense of the word. So I take sort of trying to embody more of that in my life to honor him. So thank you.
Thank you. Artemis?
Yes, I want to talk about a place I used to live in, Skid Row for a tiny bit. It's a place where a lot of people die way too soon and way too early. Earlier this year, I had a friend that died that lived in Skid Row, and it took me about I found out 3 months after he died, he was storing my artwork, and I basically lost a friend and all my artwork. And then I found out recently that my next door neighbor at the place I used to live in passed away, and he had dementia, and he was living in the same building that basically gave me a nervous breakdown living there. I don't know if you know the conditions of SROs, but basically they're like a hotel room that you're expected to live in, and that's the size of that's slightly bigger than Harry Potter's broom closet. And the conditions there are horrible, and basically only 2 people I know there that I knew that lived there are still alive, and I don't expect the other 2 people to be around here much longer, because the one person I know has dementia that's not getting treated, has eviction notices piling up on his door, and it's just it's just all those people out there that I know that aren't going to be remembered. like my next door neighbor, or yeah.
Right. Just remember all the people that are not being remembered. Exactly.
Since Fred brought up the whole question of poetry, and since Trudy opened the door to S. Pearl was someone who touched my mother and touched me, and my mother had written something which I'd love to read here. I met S. Pearl because she was a writer and I was a writer. I found her to be a person who could define the essence of Black history and to let it be known that we are capable of creating culture with music, with art, love, and care. She did a lot to make that possible. There are none like her. As we grew close over the years, she took good care of me, and I considered her to be, and she accepted the fact that she was my daughter. She had done a lot for me in terms of being concerned with what I would wear and making sure that I was appropriately dressed, taking me shopping when I needed clothing. We got to be really close in the writing of my autobiography, Something Inside So Strong. S. Pearl stepped in when the editor was tearing it apart and trying to recreate it. She had faith in me and knew the struggle I had made to produce that book. S. Pearl edited and worked with me to create a book for young adults and adults that would tell all of the history of our people. Through her connections, she made it possible for the book to be reviewed and have a book signing with friends and with business people when I was 100 years old. She made that possible. S. Pearl, along with Steve and Craig, helped me when I moved from my house in San Mateo into assisted living at the terraces of Pasadena. When all of my possessions burned up in the Altadena fire, then they moved me to another facility in Redwood City. She helped me get settled in as a daughter would. She worked to give me a place, a woman's atmosphere, when I had had only a son and a grandson. She came to visit and have lunch with me at the new facility. Wisely, she would bring her own food and brought pictures of my mother, of my husband, and I at a protest, and copies of my books to replace the ones that had burned. She saw to it that I was comfortable in the new place in Redwood City. I called her often, every week. I would speak to her, and she didn't tell me that she was dying. She didn't want anyone to know. She participated in the Zoom call in my 103rd birthday. S. Pearl was a person who was able to bring ideas in the universe. She had knowledge of people who created a rich culture of wonderful literature and art and music. She worked in all of these areas with many people. I was very fortunate to be one of them. I was fortunate that I knew her, and I never thought I would be without her. I will remember her as long as I live. I will praise her for the work she did to bring us and knowledge of African people and African culture. From Mildred Walter to S. Pearl.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Beautiful. Oh, we love her too.
They had a memorial for her when we had the 5 o'clock thing. They were down in Watts. Oh, it would have knocked your socks off.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you. All right. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. I want to remember my father. I really wish I'd brought a picture of him. And how could I forget? I did the newsletter, so I knew it was happening. It's like, wow, what are we doing today? Oh, yeah, should have brought that picture. My dad is a hero, and I miss him tremendously now because I'm here today at this church because of him. Well, really because of his father. My grandfather was a Congregationalist minister and a real social justice advocate. My grandfather moved to Chicago in the early 60s, and my dad followed him, and my grandfather got him a job at City News Bureau. My dad was a journalist. And my dad tells a story at Chicago at City News Bureau when he was in his first month there, and he was like going to go out and cover a story, and he was looking at the sheet of murders, of deaths in the city of Chicago, and he told his editor, I'm going to go do this story. And the editor said, no, you see how there's the letter N next to this person's name? That means that person's a Negro, and we're not covering that, so move on. My dad described his own politics as black nationalist. His hero in life was Fred Hampton. He worked for the Sun-Times. After City News Bureau, he was a reporter for the Sun-Times. He took a break from the Sun-Times in the summer of 1968 to go work for Bobby Kennedy, where he helped him secure the primary win in Indiana. He did not get along very well with the editors at the Sun-Times, and shortly before Fred Hampton was murdered, my dad, by the way, I just want to mention this out loud, tells a story about Fred Hampton punching Bill Ayers in the face after the Days of Rage. He was that mad. And my sister's going to go talk to Bill Ayers and see if he can confirm that story. Never heard anybody else tell that before. But my dad, he helped break the story when the Chicago police tried to cover up Fred Hampton's murder. That was a very dark day for my dad. He went on to be a television producer. He worked for CBS News for several years. In the 80s, he worked for Harold Washington. He helped Harold Washington. He wrote his announcement when he announced that he was running. He was his press secretary during the campaign, and he worked for him briefly after that. Those were some wild days. My dad smoked grass and drank beer his whole life. Got a little out of control in the 80s there. If I want to talk about an embarrassing thing, my dad used to say that he was the best white dancer on the south side of Chicago. And I mean, repeatedly. I think he held that title for about 18 months there in the mid-60s. Later, he took a turn at poetry. He participated in poetry slams in Chicago in the 80s at the Green Mile, which was an old Al Capone bar. Also super embarrassing because he wrote X-rated poems. Yeah, exactly. I won't get into too much detail, but one of them was, I'm not even going to say it. Anyway, my dad, he was an iconoclast, an absolute iconoclast. He was. This was also embarrassing, although I didn't, not in quite the same way. Got into a screaming argument with the head of the Illinois ACLU because my dad said that liberals and Democrats had to end late-term abortion. And it was so embarrassing, it caused fights with every single woman in our family. And I think I've said this before, his point was films of late-term abortions were the main thing that the opposition used to drive outrage. He was like, this will never stop. People will never stop being outraged at this. So it was a very pragmatic, not a moral or ethical thing. It was a political tactic. As an iconoclast, he was not quite sure about Trump when Trump first got elected. He was like, I don't know. I think this, he was so critical of the American empire. There's like, I think this guy's got some good things, which terrified all of us. But about midway through his term, he realized, he's like, this guy is dangerous. And he died shortly after that. But I miss him so much. I feel like he would know what to do now. But, but I think he's down there. He's up there. Or he's not, he's down there probably, actually, now that I think about it. He was really an atheist most of his life. Really an atheist most of his life. Although when Solidarity happened in Poland, he almost became a Catholic. He was so into the organizing that happened there. Anyway, Dad, I miss you, and I'm sorry I was a liberal most of my life. That's over now. Hope you forgive me, and we'll keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you. Marty?
Thanks. I didn't bring a picture. I didn't know we were going to do this today, but I think most of you can picture this person in your minds. Remember her, Mary Getlin, and my best friend, a lot of our best friends. I met her years ago. She was another famous local poet, wrote for the Beachhead, and we were on the Beachhead together for quite a long time. And then we were at the senior center at the beach there. I saw her every day. She was one of the most funniest, off-the-wall people I've ever met. You thought she was a little old funny lady, and the things that would come out of her mouth would just shock you, and my mouth would be hanging down. So when we were at the senior center, we started a jazz group, and I sang, and she kept saying, "Why don't you come to the church and join the choir?" I said, "Are you kidding? I'm an atheist." I said, "I'm gonna come and sing Jesus songs? No way." I said, "My family would quench. They couldn't understand why are you at the choir." So we had a memorial after she passed, and I came here with another old friend, Phyllis, who played the flute, who's also gone now. And I sat here and we heard a choir. And I'd come here when I was a little tiny kid. I was 3.5, 75 years ago I came to this church. I hadn't hardly been here since. And I felt Mary's presence, and I felt she's calling me here. And she's not in the choir anymore. And I came the next week to the choir, and here I am.
Beautiful story. All right, thank you all so much for sharing.
We looked up the names of the folks that we know that are part of our church community.
Right, I do. I would like to do that. And I also start with Carol O'Neill because she's just passed away this year. And we had an amazing memorial for her. Lamando. Chuck. Michael, yes. Reuben, oh. Yeah. Eleanor. Francine. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah. Come on up. I think we'll so we'll think of all those folks who have been a part of this community and in our lives, and Chaplain Joseph is going to have a prayer.
Thank you. So many people said so much. I believe I should say something about my own family. As Jean said, as you live longer, you remember they were not so bad after all. Some of them. So I remember my father, he's from St. Vincent. He died in 1996. And then I remember my mother from Tobago. She died just a few months after I entered university in New Jersey, 1985. And then my brother, one of my brothers, my younger brother, died in 2002. And then my other brother, there are 3 brothers, my other brother died just recently in New Jersey. He was deacon in the Seventh-day Adventist Church in New Jersey. So I remember them with joy, and we pray God's blessings will be upon them. Okay, let us pray. Almighty God, we give thanks for the names that were mentioned here today. We give thanks for the names kept in our hearts that may not have been mentioned verbally or audibly, but we keep them in our hearts as we go forth with courage and with confidence. We give thanks for your abiding love and care that guided them and sojourned with them and helped them and cared for them and made them the lights that have shone in our lives and have enabled us now to carry on and to continue the work that you have enabled us to do. So for all these mercies and blessings, we give thanks. We lift them up because we know that they're in your care and that your divine love and power continues to guide them and to enable them to inspire us as we continue the work that is before us. So for all these mercies and blessings, we give thanks. For all the saints who from their labors rest, through thee by faith before the world confess. Thy name, O Jesus, be forever blessed. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Amen. All right. We're going to have the, remember? These we remember. We have also, so that was the Christian prayer, and now we have a Jewish ritual.
The song is called These Do I Remember, and it's a really easy one because you say These Do I Remember 4 times, and at the end you say through all these years. So now that tune has driven the song out of my head. These do I remember, remember well. 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 Through all the years.
All right, we're going to have a moment in silence, and it'll be broken with a song.
All night, all day, angels are watching over me, my Lord. All night, all day, angels watching over me. Sing again now. All night, all day, angels watching over me, my Lord. All night, all day, angels watching over me. If you get there before I do, angels watching over me, my Lord. Tell all of my friends I'm coming to. Angels watching over me all night, all night, all day. Angels watching over me, my Lord. All night, all day, angels watching over me.
Good morning.
Morning.
This was really rewarding to learn so much. And you all knew Millie. She couldn't cook either. Just, there's sort of a common thread here, I think. And I don't know whether to honor her by like donating for that reason or just because what you share is really important to us. I also want to mention Bob's not here. He thought he was here earlier, but he's coming. Janet has pledge forms. It's the time of the year where we ask about your contribution for the coming year. And it's important to help us plan financially, but it's also anything you can do. And if you can do a little more from what you might have done last year in the next year, that would be really helpful. And we do use this to help plan our budget for the coming year. So
I'm going to put them on the chair right here. Some people have already done that online, so I don't need to give everybody one. There are two play pieces.
Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. Will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you.
Thank you. Now it's time for announcements. And just to remind you that you can find out more about Edesca at the table on the way out.
Let's make a circle. Make a circle. Let's make a circle. Make a circle. Let's make a circle. Make a circle. Let's make a circle. Make a circle in 5, in 4, in 3, in 2, in 1.
You did it. Thank you. Welcome to our closing circle.
Low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, coming for to carry me home. Sometimes my soul feels a heavenly bound, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me. Swing low, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Communion in the green room after the service for anybody who wants to participate. And so to say together, carry on. We're going to lift our hands if we can. And at the count of 3, we're going to say carry on. 1, 2, 3. Carry on.
Carry on.
Thank you, everybody.